Welcome in. I am the Crypto Bull God, and this is all in the charts. If you appreciate the content, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, drop me a comment. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and you click the bell icon to know when I go live, as the time can vary day to day. I hope everyone had a really good weekend. Oh yeah, by the way, as if you don't know already, you can find me in the Twitterverse, you can find me on YouTube, TradingView, even Instagram, one word, Crypto Bull God. I hope everyone, as I was saying, had a nice weekend. Not anything really super eventful on this end. More so used the weekend to catch up on a few different things that I wanted to get done. One of which was brainstorming on the right charts to use for a TA video that I'm hoping to get out this week. No, not hoping, that I will get out this week. Just looking at some charts that sort of either fly in the face of, or at least make you pause to think that, hey, you know, I could be wrong and we're not going to see new all-time highs this year. So want to put the video out on that because I think it's important to see both perspectives. Very, very important. Trying to think of anything else really going on this weekend. Did some work on my car. If you guys know, I have a 2001 Acura Integra. Kept that thing in pretty mint condition. And doing some work specifically to replace the interior. Originally, it was beige interior, which I hate. I'm not gonna replace everything in there. You know, for the past several years, slowly but surely, and it's a very tedious task for anyone who has an older car. You know this. It's hard to go on eBay and places like that to find OEM parts to kind of swap out some of the dash components. But I've done it slowly but surely over time. I have a lot of black in there, but I'm not going to I'm not going to completely convert the entire car to black interior. But some of the vinyl components, I'm just going to have to take out and use a vinyl paint to paint it black. So working on that. Got some replacement seats. Welcome in, Brendan. Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a bit. It's really good to see you. So just doing some work there, did some work on the crypto videos, spent a little bit of time chilling and relaxing. I also mentioned last Friday that I was going to check out this tequila bar restaurant that just opened up in Pompano Beach, or as my mom would say, Pompano. Is it Pompano or is it Pompano? I don't know, Mom. I've lived here for how long? Like, do we really need to work on the pronunciation at this point? I love my mom. But anyway, really sweet spot. I had shared a photo on Twitter. Really, really nice spot. So glad that I went on Friday. But like I said on Friday, this is a very exciting day because we have another month close on the charts that we're going to take a look at for Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market. And I had tweeted out on Sunday that I was very excited about the monthly close, and we'll get into why. So what we're going to do is we're going to structure today's live stream to focus purely on Bitcoin and the broader crypto market, as well as I want to take a look at the stock market. Tomorrow, I want the emphasis to be on altcoins. So I'm not going into altcoins today. I want to structure the channel a little bit different. Welcome in, Jorge. What's up, brother? I can't help it. Like, I am who I am, what I am. But we're going to focus on Bitcoin today, like I said, in the broader market. We will get specifically into altcoins tomorrow. So keep that in mind as we get to the TA Q&A. I really want I want the questions to be centered around Bitcoin and the market as a whole versus getting into altcoins. I'm going to save that for tomorrow. We'll have plenty of time tomorrow to get into altcoins. With that being said, let's take a look at this chart. Now, this is someone who I follow on Twitter. I would suggest giving him a follow if you're not already. This is Rickus _ trades. And he had posted this chart. Okay, this is a Heiken Hashi candlestick chart on the 2-month time frame. Okay, he says this is the 2-month Heineken candle. I never heard that saying Heineken instead of now I can't remember the name, Heiken Hashi. I thought that was pretty clever. And I looked at this chart, and when he tweeted this out, I was like, this is by far the sexiest thing I have seen all week. And that is really the truth, to be honest with you. And I said I'll plan on speaking to this chart tomorrow. That's how much I love this chart. So let's take actually a look at this chart first. And I think this is going to be an important theme of today's live stream, okay? If you are focused on today's price action, we're down 2%, 3%, 4%, whatever we are. Just want to share something with you real quick. Today is May 1st. And there are, 31 days in May, right? So 1 divided by 31. This represents 3.2%. Today's price action represents 3.2% of the entire monthly candlestick. Guys, it's very important that you not get lost in the woods, in the forest, okay? And the way you do that, the way you actually get lost in the forest, is that you're hyper-focused on a 12-hour, or 4-hour, daily, or 2-day chart, and you're not zooming out, you're in a little helicopter or plane, and you're able to see the entire fortress by looking at a 2-week chart, even a weekly, a monthly chart, a 2-month chart. This is beautiful. Now, you guys know for the Heikin-Ashi candles, the way they differ in general, I think the big thing to take away here from a traditional candlestick is they tend to show trend momentum, right? Green is to the upside, red is to the downside. Now, what are we showing here? Well, we don't have a lot of price history, right? Again, Bitcoin doesn't have a lot of price history, but we can go back to 2011 and we can see at the past, there's been technically 5 occurrences, okay? But when we've gone from red to green, you can see massive move, massive move. This was it was still a big move, but a little bit of, what I want to say is not a big move, not a huge move, right? This was another huge move. This was like 8,000 all the way up to 64. And you can see then this is, and also part of what faked me out, this little move here. Now, I am theorizing that we're going to see a large move up here for reasons. I mean, I've shared with you countless charts in terms of why I'm anticipating new all-time highs this year, right? So there's been 5 events, and in my view, the price action that's going on right in here is more so coinciding with, this sort of price action that we've seen in here and even here, okay? I am anticipating a massive move up for reasons I've already shared, and this is another chart that I'm salivating at because this is showing you on a high time frame. Well, each candlestick is 2 months of price action. We're seeing a trend reversal to the upside denoted by these green candlesticks. Now, if we look at the 12-hour right now, we're down 4.86%. We'll focus really quick on a lower time frame, and then we're going to get back to the higher time frames, okay? What's up, Kathleen? Glad to see you in here. I've seen you in here before. Welcome in. One of the key areas, and I want to touch on 25,000. 25,000 is getting a lot of attention. And I've spoken to this many times before. What have I spoken to on the 12-hour chart? I think it's the number one thing that you should keep in mind. When we are in the midst of a true trend reversal to the upside and we get both moving averages moving in the up direction and that we've had that golden cross, price likes to often come down and revisit the 200 simple moving average. It might hover there for a little bit and then continue to move up, right? Right now, the 200 simple moving average is sitting at about 25,500, right? So it shouldn't shock us if we come down to some level right around 25,500. However, as you know, I've shared this with you. My educated view on this, welcome in, Kevin. Yes, they did have a pretty good draft based on what I saw. My view on this is because my view, okay, is we are in the midst of a massive turnaround to the upside that's going to result in new all-time highs. This is the part of the cycle where many times, popular pullback price levels are not obtained. And I went back to this just real quick. I think the greatest example of this, okay, the greatest example, just to look at this really quick, was back in, was it here? The level that I'm trying to, this is really the level. Focus on the orange horizontal line, okay? right around there. Okay, orange horizontal line. That was the all-time high we set back in 2018, okay? And you can see that we had price resistance there, right? But once we broke up, people were calling for it, including myself, okay? That we would most likely come back and backtest. We never backtested. We never backtested this area. We just moved straight up, okay? And what you will oftentimes find is that when you are in the middle of a true disbelief rally, it leaves people in disbelief in the sense that they're not only surprised that price is moving up at the trajectory that it's moving up and that it just continues to go higher, but they're also left in disbelief because prices are not pulling back to levels that it should pull back to. Remember, there's probabilities, no certainties, right? So just keep an eye on this $25,000 level. I'm very skeptical that we're going to get down as low as $25,000. Maybe we hit 25.9 or 26.2 or 26.3. I have another area of support here right around 26.5. We'll keep an eye. But at the end of the day, this is the view that you really need to keep in perspective. Not to say who gives two shits about a 12-hour chart. That's what I was about to say. It is an important chart. But the more important thing to keep in mind is how are the higher time frames looking? Because if you have a good sense in terms of how price action looks on your higher time frames, your week, your 2 week, and your monthly, that can really give you the best perspective on this volatile asset class in terms of how bullish or bearish we look. Now, why was I so positive on this monthly close for April? Why do I feel so good about it? Again, lines of price confluence are contingent based on the time frame that you're looking at. So when we look at a weekly here, I have a price zone drawn between roughly 28.8 and 32 that we spent a lot of time talking about, right? Well, here it's a little bit different. I do have 32. It's 31.8 technically, but 32,000 to make it easy. But I have another area of price confluence I'm calling at 29,000, okay? If we go back in time, we see a lot of significance with this $29,000 area. We literally, and this is jumping the gun, turning it green, but I want you to follow what I'm saying here. You can see this candlestick for April closed above $29,000, okay? We closed the month of April at 29,230. This is very bullish. We closed above this line. Now, ideally, what we want to do is we want to hold the $29,000 as support. Now, you can see, oh man, this monthly candle looks very thick. Again, if you followed what I said at the beginning of the live stream, the current price action we're seeing for this monthly candlestick represents 3% of the entire month. Okay, so this is nothing. We still have a lot of price action left, right, to go. But yes, it would not surprise me to come back to maybe this level here. This is at 25,100. It wouldn't shock me. Again, not what I'm expecting. I would actually say that it's most likely we were not going to hit that low. But this is an area of price confluence, so it wouldn't surprise to get a wick down here. But ultimately what we want to see for the month is a close back above 29,000. Now, what other things on this chart am I very bullish about? Well, oh, and I wiped out. I want to stick this back in here. I'm going to touch on this real quick for those that are not familiar. Look at the price indicators. First off, I've identified a key area on the RSI between 46 and 50. You can currently see we're sitting above 50. That is bullish in itself, okay? Areas that are below this 50 to 46 area historically have meant that prices are in oversold territories, in a bearish territory, right? Once we start popping our head in particular above the 50 level in the RSI for Bitcoin's monthly candle chart, very positive to see, but look at the MACD. This is what I'm really excited about, okay? And depending how May closes, all right, we are getting primed and ready. You can see based on a couple things here. Just look at the shape of these lines, right? We want the blue to curl above the orange on the MACD. Look at this. It's rounding out and it's flattened and now it's starting to curl up. It's getting ready to do this, okay? Look at the histogram. The histogram is turning from dark red to light red. It's getting lighter and lighter. Next month, I would theorize next month you're going to see a light green here. Okay, it's very bullish if we go back in time, and we've seen when we've had these positive crosses above zero. That's the other thing. We're getting close to getting above zero. Above zero. It has led to monumental rises in price. So what I'm attempting to convey to you is why you should be feeling uber bullish right now, okay? If you're getting lost in the day-to-day chip chop, today we're down 4%. Tomorrow we're back up 2%. The following day we're up 1%. The next day we're down 2%. The next day we're up 5%. If that's all you're doing, you don't have good context overall in terms of how the broader market is doing. Do not, please, for your own benefit, for the benefit of your financial investments and for your successes in being able to maximize your potential for prospering in this market, don't get caught up in the choppiness of the day-to-day. Crypto is an extremely volatile asset class. I don't know if you're aware of that by now, okay? So if all you're doing is looking at a daily or even a weekly time frame, you're losing sight on the bigger picture. This picture should give you a lot of confidence that there's a high likelihood that we still have substantial upside to go. How high? We have to wait and be patient. There is a probability for everything. Again, could we do seemingly what everyone thinks we're going to do and top out at 48,000 this year? Absolutely, there's a chance for that. Of course there's a likelihood for that. Have we already topped out at 31? Where the hell did we top out here? 31. Have we already topped out for the year at 31,000? Of course there's a probability for that. But again, my highest probability scenario is new all-time highs this year, and this monthly candle close for April certainly helps to aid in that conversation and argument. The last thing I'm going to point to here before we move on to our next chart, I see a few comments here I'm going to get to. I have compared current price action right now to be very reminiscent of what I felt and saw in the charts back in around late September 2020, okay? Again, I'm not getting these vibes, and I'm not seeing in the chart this price action. That's not what I'm getting from here. I see way too many comparisons to 2019. I am not one of them. My current price action relativity, this price action right here, is more reminiscent to me right here. And what I want you to keep in mind that if something similar pans out, as I'm anticipating, because to me, the fifth wave has yet to be materialized in the market, in particular for Bitcoin, if we are going to see a fifth wave this year, like I'm hypothesizing, and that does pan out, this right here, this is a mirror image of this price action. Okay, all I did was take this bars pattern. We'll do it together, okay? And this isn't me insinuating the price action is going to be exactly the same. The main point of this, you can see that's exactly what I did. The point of this is not to tell you Bitcoin's going up to 128,000. That's not the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is to not lose sight of the fact, because sometimes it's very difficult to lose sight of this, okay? Even for myself, I have to remind myself how volatile this asset is. We're all the way down here at 29,000. We're all the way down here at 29,000. It's the beginning of May. Really. This guy's got to be on crack. So I'm tuning into this guy's YouTube channel, CBG's live stream, and he's telling me on May 1st, Bitcoin is sitting at 29,000, and this dude thinks that Bitcoin by the fourth quarter of this year is going to be all the way up past $100,000. What the fuck is he on, right? Well, let's go back in time, okay? When we were under this scenario, Bitcoin was hovering around $8,000 to $10,000. I was here for all of this. I remember this very well. In a matter of this short a period of time, between October 20 all the way up till March of 21, we went from 10 to 60. We did a 6x, okay? And that's in the span of 6 months. This market, when it moves quick. And if you think this moves quick, you think Bitcoin moves quick, tomorrow we will take a look at some altcoins. You look at something like Harmony One, you're like, God damn, this thing's been sitting at 2 cents forever. But what you forget or what you don't understand if you haven't been here is it took 3 months, 12 weeks for Harmony One to go from a half a cent to 20 cents. Literally did a 50x in 3 months. This is the power of crypto. This is the this is the upside potential to investing in this market. Just as there is a lot of risk to the downside, as we saw, there's a lot of risk to the upside, a lot of potential to the upside. Do not lose sight of that. People forget that. When you undergo all this, you forget exactly how quickly this can happen. Do not lose this perspective. Let's see what comments we have here. Crypto Ryan, good to see you in here, brother. I've seen you on several of the live streams lately. Appreciate the support. I know you've got to be super busy yourself. Like, I've been working all day. I haven't had much time to do charts except for early this morning when I had gotten up. It is good. So to Crypto Ryan's point, you see how just one day like today, again, this is why it's important to not hyper-focus on a 12-hour or one-day chart. All this bearish sentiment is coming back into the chart. Meanwhile, I just pointed everything out on this monthly view that should have you feeling very confident in terms of a solid likelihood that there's substantial upside in this market. However high we are going to go, we have to remain patient. What's up, YC? Good to see you. Consistent. The longer we can have the bearish sentiment, the higher we will go. I agree. Get worried when everyone is calling for higher. So I've hit on this multiple times, and Crypto Ryan is making a beautiful point here. I will continue to hammer home on key points on this live stream so that it is ingrained in your head. I will continue to do so for the next 6, 7, 8 months, however long this thing takes to top, okay? I don't guarantee anything on this channel. I'm about to do my first guarantee, okay? I actually guarantee you that when we break this level and we're up at 70,000, 72, 75,000, all the super cycle calls are going to come out. Bitcoin, 100,000, are you kidding me? That's way too low of a target. 250, 300, 500,000. Look, if you want to wait for those price levels, go for it. Nothing that I have looked at says that it's reasonable to assume Bitcoin's going up to $250,000 this year or higher. I do not view that as a reasonable likelihood, so I'm not even considering that. But you will see those calls come out as we enter true euphoria. We're still in this sort of like complacency, disbelief stage. Appreciate YC's comments there. He appreciates the content and it helps to put things in perspective. Stream, podcast, whatever. You guys know, if you've been on this channel for a while, I actually used to do podcasts, the CBG podcast back in the day, but I didn't even know what the hell I was doing when I first started putting, to be honest, before we get into this next chart here, I didn't even know what I was doing, to be honest, when I first started this YouTube channel. I just did it because, you know, I saw other technical analysis out there and I felt like I could add value, and I thought I could do this stuff and I can put out value-added content, and you know, it just sort of has culminated over time to the point where I'm at now. And now I have some specific goals that I want to hit for the channel. I do want to reach a wider audience. I do want to continue developing, growing as a technical analyst. At some point, probably makes sense to look into, you know, I told you guys I paid a while ago for professional trading classes, but it might make sense to actually get credentialed as a technical analyst, because I've seen that. You can go to like a technical analyst school and get credentialed. I would potentially consider that. So, I mean, if you've been paying attention to me at all, well, clearly, and Jorge, by the way, XRP, $35,000 per coin, that's like a minimum target, clearly. Let's fucking go. No, but if you've been paying attention to some of the things I share with you, I love learning in general. The most boring thing to me in life would be to truly retire and not challenge yourself. I think human beings, I'm not going to go on and on like I did on Friday, but human beings were meant to, first off, have relationships with other human beings, but to give back, to help one another, to learn, to grow, all those things. And if you're not doing that in life, like, what the fuck is the point? Like, I just don't see the point. I don't want to retire and be off on an island somewhere. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling. I do that from time to time here. All right, let's get back to the charts. So weekly, Not too much new to report here. What I would say is this is not surprising. I've hit on this enough, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but we're having problems breaking here. Once we break, it's really 31.8, but I've rounded it to 32,000 for simplicity. Once we break $32,000, the next target you can see is all the way up here at between 35.5 and 43. Now, I've restated what I said earlier. Keep in mind, what I want to see by June is I want to get up in this orange box. I do not want to be down here, right? Because for us to have a good shot at having a parabolic run, what happens is the parabola along these lines, it begins to heat up, right? We're just building stair steps right now. But at some point, especially once we get up here, when everyone thinks we're going to top out, if we truly do go higher, this is the area, okay? What you have to understand is we're just heating up doing this. We're warming up. It's like NBA Jam for the Super Nintendo back in the day. I'm dating myself. Yes, that doesn't seem that long ago for me. What happens is eventually you start to heat up and then you start really going parabolic and there's minimal pullbacks. And if you don't believe me or you haven't experienced it, if what I'm saying plays out this year, you will experience it firsthand and we will enjoy. Believe me, it's quite an event to witness. So this is the total cryptocurrency market cap. And I had tweeted this out earlier today. And again, this is a monthly view. Now I want you to zoom out here. What concerns you about this chart? Run up, correction, consolidation, a run up, whoop, fake out, correction, consolidation, broke out of the descending. This is a falling wedge, falling wedge. This is a falling wedge in here. Broke out above it. And now what we're doing, okay, if we look at support and resistance on the monthly, you can see we closed just above, got a little bit of a runny nose. Full disclosure, TMI. You can see on the monthly we've closed above this key level here at 1.14 trillion. Again, if you can't read a chart and you're hyper-focused on daily activity, these are the things you miss. This is a high time frame chart that shows we just cleared resistance and formed it as support. Now, the way to get confirmation here, we want May to close above 1.14 trillion. Okay, the other thing, again, RSI, let's see the RSI. RSI, I haven't checked to see key levels on the RSI to see really what level we want to break out from. Looks like a good level. 60, it seems a little high. I don't want to do this on the spot. I'll have to double check that later. But the MACD, this is important to point out on the total market cap. Once again, you can see we're flattening out. The histogram's turning light red. We're waiting for this curl here and to turn positive. These are the things you miss when you don't look at a higher time frame. The total market cap looks bullish, and the way I would communicate to you what's visible in the chart here is what I'm seeing in the chart is we underwent a massive correction here. We've had some consolidation and we've broke out of the descending resistance and we're once again consolidating, awaiting another big break up. Now, when will things really start to get juicy? Once we start to get up towards, I want to put another line of resistance here now that things are starting to heat up a little bit, like NBA Jam, right? Once we start to break around, that looks like, what's the high here? 1.8 and 1, okay, so 1.8. That's close enough. We're not going to draw too many lines here. So once we break, when you see the entire, so when you go to CoinMarketCap, right? When you go over here, you refresh this page, right? When you're on CoinMarketCap, okay, you can see the value right now is what you see this right here. For those that don't do charts, you see how this says 1.16 trillion? 1.16 trillion. When the total entire crypto market cap gets up to around 1.6 to 1.8, things are really heating up. That's not a large move from here. 1.6, keep that figure in your head, okay? Keep it in here. The total cryptocurrency market cap, when you go to CoinMarketCap, when this says 1.6, somewhere between 1.6 and 1.8, we are fucking heating up big time, okay? And the reason I say that is because once we get up in this area, there's not a whole lot of price confluence up here. So new all-time highs have an increased, a much higher probability of materializing in the market sooner rather than later. We're not going to spend time on this. Kind of spent time on that already. Okay, I want to talk about Bitcoin dominance. I have a material update on Bitcoin dominance. As you know, for many, many months now, I've been pointing to the fact that we had a bear flag, descending triangle, right? So we had, this sort of price action in here, right? Well, based on how we printed this month, that's been invalidated. I can no longer draw a descending triangle here. Doesn't make any sense to me. Sure, you could still go like this, and we have declining price action, but you have no touches on here except for this. The descending triangle idea to me is dead. It does not exist in this chart, and that's okay. Now, the most important thing you can do as a chartist, you can see we have another area of resistance right there. The most important thing you can do as a chartist is evolve your line of thinking or your view of the chart as price data evolves, right? Case in point is everything about my analysis, and this is a very important point for you to understand. Please pay attention to what I'm about to say, okay? This gets missed on so many people. So many people miss this, okay? When I drew this, okay, and then I think I drew it like this. So I had it going there for a while, right? And I said, hey guys, now you're looking at this and you're saying, oh, hey, you have a descending triangle, but what about this price action? I said, no, patterns, which is true. Sometimes what they like to do is temporarily invalidate the pattern, but then once they re-enter the pattern, there's a high likelihood this thing's really going to break down. We had multiple touches down here, multiple touches. And you guys know, anytime we continue to touch an area of support like that many, many times, it doesn't express strength. It weakens the support, and there's a higher probability, not certainty. There's a higher probability that it's going to break. So I was getting uber confident this thing was going to break down. And now we've just broken back up again, right? So everything about my initial analysis was spot on, accurate, and it was a good pattern recognition on this chart. The problem is the way the candlesticks are printing now, there's no way I could look at this and say, oh yeah, it's still a descending triangle. It's not, and that's okay. The worst thing you can do as a technical analyst is be stubborn, rigid, and decide that what you originally called still has to work out and you're sticking to it, and that's just being ignorant. It's only going to hinder your abilities. So does this mean that new all-time lows in Bitcoin dominance, meaning altcoins really having a massive run and setting new all-time lows here, something that gets us below 35%, more towards something in the 20s, is that off the table now? No, that's not off the table. It's just that the pattern is off the table that would lead us to that conclusion. I still think, if you follow what's been going on here through time, I still think there's going to be a massive breakdown in Bitcoin dominance, and altcoins are going to gobble up a lot of the market share when they run really hard. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Now, let's take a look at two more charts. I'm really going to, let's see if we have any questions here real quick. So Jorge brings up a really good comment here, and I want you to read what he said. So after he put out his realistic price target, and this is completely realistic, $35,000 per XRP. Now, someone's going to cut that video and put that on Twitter, and now no one's ever going to follow me again. Of course, $35,000 per coin on XRP is a literal impossibility, okay? But he says on a serious note, he suggests diversifying because he got burned with XRP last run. Very, very, very important to diversify your investments, because as confident and as sure on things as you might feel, this market will kick your ass and take no prisoners. Okay, it's a very good Megadeth album, Take No Prisoners. All the songs are going through my head right now. Hangar 18, it's a damn good song. Take No Prisoners, though. Rust in Peace, that's another one, good one. Anyway, on a serious note, like he says, make sure you guys are diversified, right? Sometimes I've questioned if I hold too many crypto assets, and I have consolidated a little bit, but I have my main positions. You know, I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. I have my like 5 or 6 big positions, okay? And then I have a bunch of, smaller positions, right? But just make sure you're diversified, okay? Very good point. Yeah, YouTube channels didn't really tell the newbies to diversify. Well, the thing you have to be careful of, and then we're going to get to 2 more charts here, and I'm going to take questions. Whatever questions you guys have on Bitcoin or any chart we've covered here, and any general questions on the macro perspective picture of things. Yeah, 5 main positions is a good amount. I agree. And I forget if I have 5 or 6. I really have to think about that. But there are individuals out there in any community. You could take a look at XRP. You could take a look at, I love HBAR. You could take a look at HBAR. Harmony One. You guys know I love Harmony One. Any project I've spoken to, Digibyte, whatever project. There are people that are true maximalists, and it's the only coin that they hold. And I think that is foolish, ignorant and foolish. You can love a project, but the moment you get, first off, 2 things. If you get emotionally tied to your investment, it will fucking burn you, okay? You cannot allow emotion to enter you got your finances and your emotions, and you better keep them separate. And I'm being dead serious. Emotion is a money killer. How many times have I said that? You can love a project to death, but the chart might be shit, or the chart might be subpar relative to other charts, okay? Do not get emotionally tied to your investment. And second off, maximalism, tribalism is ignorance. Do not get tied to any one single project. Diversify. It's the same thing in the stock market as is in crypto, and I just cannot believe the amount of people that, and you gotta question whether they're being disingenuous in nature, but the tribalism over the years has it's just nauseating. Anyway, the dollar index, what I'm going to speak to real quick here on the monthly, this is what we like to see. We got a negative cross down on the MACD, stochastic RSI. We want this to go even below 20, but we have a negative cross. It's at 23 right now, the blue line. RSI is at 52, which is a neutral level. We want this thing to go down, right? Because every time we've had, and we'll take a closer look at this, every time we've had a large swing down, a large swing in price movement down on the DXY, which is the dollar index, this has an inverse relationship to equities and crypto, meaning as this goes down, everything else is going up in general. Not the same exact time, okay? Timing is not spot on, but in general, this is what you can expect. And you can see we've hit this, not surprisingly, around 101 to 100 level. You can see we back tested this twice. Next levels I have are 99 to 98, followed by 96 and 94, okay? But let's take a quick look at history here. Prior to big runs in crypto and the prior 2 drops that we've had, let's take a look at the approximate drops in the DXY. This was about 15% back in the 16 to, this was really the beginning of 17 into 18. Right here, this was the beer virus, and you can see we had a drop down about 14. Okay, so if we had a similar drop down, let's see how far we've dropped so far. So far we've dropped 14%. Now, I'm theorizing 15% would put us down here towards 97. I am theorizing the level that we're ultimately going to hit. Yeah. I'm ultimately targeting down here towards like a 92, 93 before a reversal. Could we hit 95 or 96 and go up? Sure. But I'm targeting like the 92 area. Could we go as low as 88? Sure. But 92, 93 is my area. The other thing to look at with the DXY, we have a little bit of a head and shoulders coming in here. Does anybody see this? Head. We got a shoulder. We got a shoulder. That would put the technical target somewhere. We go to the base of the head. Move down. Just approximate. Yeah, that actually puts us down to 89. So, I think anywhere really in this zone ultimately is where I think the dollar could bottom at. I don't know that we're going to go as low as 88 or 89, but I think 92, 93 is in the cards, in my opinion. S&P, nothing super new to report here. If we take a look at the monthly real quick, I have a couple areas of resistance. I updated the chart, but nothing too material to update. Look at this on a monthly basis, okay? Let's get off the price indicators if I can. Look at this on a monthly basis. We're back above the 21 exponential moving average on the monthly, which is really great to see. I also want to get off this damn auto scale because I can't. Anyway, anytime we're below the exponential moving average, it has not historically been a good thing. We've seen drops in prices, right? We saw a drop here, but we've gotten back above it. Again, key areas here. I got this 43.25, then it looks like there's an area up here about 43.20. 43.25? Excuse me. What areas? Oh, so I apologize. 43.25 is the main area, but there's another area right here at about 4,200 we're trying to push through. Once we get above 43.25, then it looks like it's about 4,600 is the next area of resistance. The other thing I wanted to point out, though, on the monthly, for everyone who's so negative on the stock market and thinks the world is crumbling and falling apart, which I don't disagree fundamentally, there's a lot of bullshit going on, and I have to get that video out about your bank lying to you. There's going to be a lot of content in there, fundamental stuff, but I don't disagree with that. But quite oftentimes, don't you find it surprising? Do you find it surprising? I don't. But question. First Republic Bank, not a bailout, by the way. It was a bailout, okay? It was a bailout. Federal Republic Bank, they got bailed out, okay? JP Morgan, of course, benefits, right? Industry consolidation, fewer banks. What a lovely thing to think about. But as that bank is crumbling, how in the world, okay, if fundamentals and the economy are tied together, how in the hell did we have this much of a... Look at this hammer stick last week. Look at this bullish candlestick that came in last week. How the hell are we printing... How are we printing all of this as banks are falling apart and being seized by the government? How the fuck is that happening? Because the charts and the real world economy are quite often diverged. Think about the beer virus. Think about when the world was falling apart and the zombies were going to eat your brains out, right? And you needed to get that vaccine, right? Or you were the devil. Think about that. Think about that. Now look at all the shit coming out about I love the world we live in. I really do. I love life. But I find the older I get, I try to find comedy in everything. Even the hardest of times that I go through, everyone goes through, I just try to find comedy and stuff, just laugh at shit. Like, really? That's fucking awful, and just laugh at it. But anyway, think about all the shit going on here, and we have this V-shaped... What's going on right now, it just reminds me so much of what was going on back here. And the sentiment in general that I get, and I'm going off on a little bit of a fundamental tangent here, but what the fuck? The vibe I'm getting is that people are betting, and I think it's a smart bet to place, that the government is not going to allow the banking system to fail. If you study the balance sheets of a lot of other banks and compare them to the banks that went insolvent, okay, and had all the issues that they had, there's a lot of other banks out there with similar holdings that have a similar asset mix, right? So why wouldn't they also fail? Why wouldn't they run into hardship, right? So either the government's going to stand by and let them fail, or the government's going to step in, and what do you think they're going to do? Well, we'll use a fancy term. Quantitative easing. That's the term they like to use. But they're going to print funny bunny money to bail out the banks, right? Because if think about as a child, think about you're a child, and you know that as a child that if you don't do something that if you do something you're not supposed to be doing, every time you did it, your parents were like, no, don't do that again. And then they still gave you dessert for dinner. Like, you could still have your ice cream after dinner, right? Versus they're like, you're grounded. Like, go to your room. Nope, no dessert. Nah, you're not going out with your friends for the weekend. Like, we're going to get your behavior. We need to nip this in the butt. Like, you think you can lie to me? Lying is not acceptable. And no, like, you're grounded. Like, you are not seeing your friends for a week. You come home, you do your homework, and that's that. And we are having a conversation to talk about why lying is not good, right? You don't nip it in the butt, and you don't fix the corrective action. Instead, what is the term? You reward bad behavior because you don't do anything to actually change the child's perception of what they're doing is wrong. You encourage bad behavior. Now, you know you're not supposed to do this. Okay, well, no, you can still have some ice cream. Yeah, go out and play with your friends. That's what's going on right now. Banks are grossly mismanaging their assets, not to base the fact that, on top of the fact that we have fractional reserving, which is a completely different subject on its own. As an actuary, my mind is blown that banks aren't required to hold the capital that you deposit. Conversation for another day. But the point is, the United States rewards bad behavior by saying, hey, if you fail, we got you. Now us as individuals, if I file for bankruptcy, I'm fucked. I am fucked. The government's not printing money and bailing me out. No one's bailing me out. I am fucked for grossly mismanaging my assets and being irresponsible. My credit score will suffer. I am going to be up shit's creek, okay? But as a bank, the banks get bailed out. They know it. The bad behavior is rewarded. The government isn't allowing anything to fail. They're stepping in at every opportunity. And by doing so, they're completely spitting in the face of everything they've been doing with quantitative tightening. By raising interest rates to curb inflation and then dumping money and credit into the supply chain, they're counterintuitive. They're completely countering all the progress that they're trying to make with tightening interest rates. It's a complete shit show, okay? That's what's going on. And that's why the market is responding the way it is, because they know this price action should tell you, yes, the banks may be failing and the whole system is rigged, but we know the government's going to bail us out. We'll be okay. That is what is going on. I don't know if anyone's catching that or not, but that's exactly what is going on right now. And again, I'm dumbing things down for two reasons. One, let's not get technical. Let's keep things stupid simple, as like I always do. And two, I'm not an economist, right? I can't sit and I don't want to bore you to death either. So let's see what comments we have. These were all the charts I wanted to cover. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate everyone's support with the thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe when you know I go live. Again, today's focus, Bitcoin and the broader market. If you have questions on that, I'm here to answer those questions. If you have questions on altcoins, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be all altcoins. We're not even going to talk about Bitcoin tomorrow. We're just going to do altcoins. We're going to look at monthly closes. We're going to look at weekly closes. We'll look at very popular projects, and I know my audience by now, so I know what charts to cover. Phantom, ETH, Polygon, DOT, Algorand, and some BTC. Good portfolio, Kevin. Enabler, you damn right. Brendan, you will own nothing and be happy. Oh, God. It's funny. And I have never claimed and will never claim to be an expert, right? And I understand that if I'm presenting a problem, I should also have a solution. I understand that. If you're gonna raise that there's a problem with the way we operate fiscally, I should have a solution, right? And I don't have a perfect solution. So I see that flaw in this conversation. But still, I mean, it is when you take the time to actually educate yourself and become very familiar with how things actually work in practice, like the mechanics of things within the economy and finances and banks and the how much money the FDIC actually has, even though they say your FDIC insured up to $250,000, which is a joke. When you start educating yourself on this stuff, I don't see how you can't say that the whole system is a shit show. It's rigged. I don't see how you can't come to any other conclusion. It's like this thing that's been spiraling out of control for so long that everyone who's in charge of making decisions, it's not that they can't see it. They don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to reverse it. They don't know how to fix things. But they're not going to come out and say that. It would create mass panic. Of course they're not going to say that. Everyone became a macro expert at $15,500 and said $12,000 next. To be quite frankly, they embarrassed themselves. You know, it's funny, Crypto Ryan. I don't want to speak to specific people. I will speak to one channel that I've at least gone on record speaking to. So, but this person is not alone. You know, I used to be subscribed to Data Dash's channel, very popular. And I have nothing against the guy. I have nothing against him. But I used to be subscribed to his channel. I referred friends to his channel. I unsubscribed a long time ago. And the reason I unsubscribed was not because his views differed from mine. I value other people's viewpoints where they're well-founded, educated, informed, and I want to be challenged. I want to be challenged in my own thought processes. But at some point, that guy just got so goddamn negative, and he had all these thumbnails with negative. His face was always frowning, and you know, he was talking about Bitcoin. I forget the word choices he used. I don't want to quote him, but he felt so sure that Bitcoin was going to 10,000. I want to say 10,000 was his target. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere around 10,000. And you had other people too, and I'm not going to name more names, but you had people with these fucking clickbait videos, Bitcoin going to 5,000, 10,000, and it was just nauseating. And you had people that couldn't read a chart. And I know it impacted people. And you know what? The onus is on investors. If you're invested in this market, you got to know what you're doing. But I know people that were probably freaked out of their mind when this shit was going on, and they sold. And that's I feel bad for people that sold in here. And honestly, the onus is on that person for selling in here, okay? The onus is on them for selling in this area. Even worse, if they waited all the way to down here and sold, okay? The onus is on them because you got to know what you're invested in, but it certainly doesn't help when you have all that shit going on YouTube, right? They will have to print more. Evan says they will have to print more to help bail out the banks. More liquidity enters the system. Of course. That is exactly what I see happening. The Federal Reserve and the government, they can tell you, Janet Yellen can say whatever she wants to say, right? Jerome Powell can say whatever he wants to say. But there's credit creation being created in the system to help prop it up. This is just historically what has happened over time. And again, if you study the balance sheets of the bank, if you have a general understanding of how they're set up relative to the ones that failed, it seems like just a matter of time until the other banks fail. So what's going to happen again? Are we going to print money to create credit in the system to help these banks, right? To help the whole FDIC insured component as well of individuals that have money in the banking system over 250,000? Are we going to help prop that up? Or are we going to truly let things fail? History says we're not going to allow these banks to fail, meaning now new credit is entering the system, and you're damn right. it'll be something similar. I can't imagine anything more monumental than the amount of credit that was created back here. It was astronomical amount of dollars that entered the system. It was absurd. But yeah, there's going to be credit that's created in this system, which will also help the equity and the equity market as well as the crypto market. That will be the narrative. And again, while I have that fundamental understanding and that's my viewpoint, the charts are the charts, right? That's not the reason I believe that we're going to enter the blow off top that we're going to enter, but that certainly will be part of the narrative. Before the Great Depression in 1929, inflation was 15% at the very end today, and the CPI... No, wait, hold on a second. Before the Great Depression in 1929, inflation was 15%. At the very end today, the CPI for March was 5%. Yeah, who knows how high inflation is going to go. I also know, I'm not going to fact check you on 15%, but that sounds around the figure I recall from something I was listening to actually recently. But I think wasn't also unemployment rates. Was it the 80s? Didn't unemployment rates go to double-digit territory? I mean, think about that. If your unemployment rate was 10 or 11%, let's keep it 10%. You're saying 1 out of 10 people are unemployed. That's lunacy. Of course, then the dangers with that is, all these stimulus checks that occurred back here. You're starting to enter into socialism. This is sort of paving the path for that. So if everybody's unemployed, let's just send everybody free money and checks. It's sort of, it completely disincentivizes people to look for work. It's one of the most basic premises you learn in long-term disability as an actuary. You don't want to disincent someone who is disabled to not return back to work. When you're disabled, there's a lot of things you need to qualify to get that check for disability, but we want to make sure we're doing things to be proactive to try to get them in the workforce. If the check they're getting while they're disabled is too rich a benefit, think about it. If you could just sit home, and this isn't to make light of someone who has a really bad disability, because you have to have a pretty serious disability to be on long-term disability. But if you can't perform the functions of your own work, or any work for that matter, but think of it this way. If you're getting a check that's for the amount you would get otherwise going to work, it disincents you to get back to work, right? If people are unemployed, and now this was sort of the test run here, and now these people are unemployed over here out in 2024, and we get into some serious situation in 24, maybe entering 25, where unemployment rates are up at 10%. Well, let's just send them checks. Let's send 10% of the workforce checks. Now, that disincents people to look for a job. It certainly raises taxes. That doesn't come free. You're also rapidly increasing inflation as well. You're devaluing the dollar, so inflation is going to also run rampant. Things will become more expensive because the dollar is worth less. There's more of it. The supply has increased, so it takes more dollar bills to purchase things. It's what keep going on and on. It's what bothers me about this whole student debt forgiveness bullshit. Like, what is that even about? Like, what? Like, fix the goddamn problem. If college is too expensive, figure out why it's as expensive as it is. Get at the root, the key drivers behind that. But instead, and fix that so that it's not as expensive, right? But instead, politicians just buy votes. That's all they want. They want the young votes from everyone who has their student loan abolished so they can get reelected. It's a sad state of... That's why I hate politics. Sad state of affairs. And I'm not taking sides. Republican, Democrat, definitely not taking sides. Inverse Kramer, you can't lose. You damn right. Really, Benjamin Cohen, who... Really? He fell victim. I haven't... So Ben, he's been touted as a really intelligent guy with all this sophisticated modeling, and I don't have anything to state that I agree with that notion or disagree with that notion, but I at least know of him. I don't follow his content closely, but that's interesting. Might have to look into that. Interesting. Yeah, guys, we'll have to see. we will have to see if myself and only a handful of others, there's not many people, are correct. And over this next 6-7 months, there is a mass appreciation in the market. We will 5 to 7 months. Really, I've kind of thought to myself, even I'm trying to allot for some margin of error here. So 5 to 8 months, whatever the case, 4 to 8 months, 5 to 8 months, whatever the case is. But anywho, I appreciate everyone who tuned in, made the time to stop by. I hope you found the content helpful. If you did, share it with at least one person. Hit the like button. Hit the thumbs up button. Drop me a comment for support. Let's get this out to more people. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel to know when I go live. Stop by tomorrow. What we will do, tomorrow's emphasis will be on altcoins. I will definitely allow enough time to go through any TA questions that you guys have. We're going to focus on monthly views where it makes sense on projects that have enough price data. We're going to look at 2-week views perhaps, weekly views as well. Thanks, everybody. And all altcoins. So until next time, everybody, thank you for stopping by. Let's spread awareness. And in remembrance of my great friend from many years ago, from not that long ago, let's carry the education forward, everybody. Take care.